This is the examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Bruschi.
So, what has been going on today on the 8th of May, 2023, in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell? We have some updates for you from the courtroom, from the testimony this morning. Of course, we will have full trial audio for you as we receive it from the court. Today, thus far, has been a lot of focus on text messages. Introduced into evidence today, also the love letter, the novel. We did a dramatic reading of it here on the show not that long ago. Maybe we'll play that back this weekend or something. We'll play it back sometime soon. But they went into the details of that and several other texts between Chad, Lori, Alex, the key players in this. The messages between Lori and Chad began on July 28th, with Lori inquiring about Chad's feelings, and Chad expressing that he was doing okay but struggling with a lack of privacy. Despite this, he felt good about an upcoming trip and missed Lori immensely. Lori expressed her need for a distraction while waiting for Chad, and the two discussed a trip that Lori would take to California. As their conversation continued, Lori forwarded a text message that her niece Melanie Boudreau had received from, quote, father, unquote. This message expressed that Melanie had overcome her obstacles and was ready for fast-paced changes. Both Lori and Chad seemed to welcome the idea, and Chad noting how much he missed being physically close to Lori. On July 26, Lori asked Chad to check on her son, JJ, as she was concerned about his behavior. Chad reassured her it was still JJ and that someone was lying about him being calm and watching movies. Lori mentioned a conversation with Melanie, who had sensed a change in her child, brightened, and knew it was part of a larger plan. It's a good thing Melanie didn't get involved in the murder of children. Throughout the exchanges, Lori often used heart and lip emojis, because she's 8, indicating her depths of her feelings for Chad. On July 23rd, Lori asked Chad to check on her daughter Tylee, as she was acting unusually sweet and helpful. Chad confirmed that Tylee had been switched and promised to explain later. Hey, can you check on my kids? They've been switched. The conversations continue with discussions of attending an LDS temple, watching a movie with scenery reminiscent of Kauai, and expressing their desire to be together. Both Chad and Lori frequently mention their longing for each other and their hopes for the future. As the messages progressed today, they began to discuss Lori's niece, Melanie Boudreau, and her children. Lori relayed concerns about Melanie's child, Blake. Chad responded with a description of spiritual actions he had taken to address the situation. They also discussed the evil spirit they believed inhabited Kay Woodcock, who had received life insurance money that Lori had hoped to receive. So, of course, Kay gets the money. She's got a spirit. Kids are in the way. They got a spirit. Throughout their exchanges, Chad and Lori engaged in discussions about the death percentages of JJ, Tylee, and Chad's wife. Tammy Daybell. According to Chad's scale, both children were dangerously close to death. In one conversation, Chad mentioned that he had been instructed to focus his efforts on Hillary, the entity that they believed inhabited Tylee's body. We know the name of that one now. As the messages continued, Lori discovered that she was not the beneficiary of her late husband Charles' life insurance policy. Chad speculated that Kay Woodcock, who they believed was an evil spirit, may have been the beneficiary. The two also spoke about plans to bring down the Genonations, a secret society from the Book of Mormon that they had associated with evil individuals, such as Brandon Boudreau. It's kind of hard to keep track of crazy, isn't it? To talk about this in a cohesive manner. The last sighting of Tylee Ryan, Lori's daughter, was on September 8th, 2019. The couple's text messages around that time discussed their attempts to eliminate the zombies they believe were plaguing their lives. The term Z was used as a shorthand for these supposed supernatural beings. In August of 2019, the couple's text messages revealed their frustration with their telestial relatives and their longing to be together. They believed they were surrounded by obstacles and desperately sought a way to be united in a spiritual plane, even discussing a perfectly orchestrated plan to take the children away. The couple's relationship was not without its issues, though, as they fought, made up through the text messages. At one point, Chad claimed that Lori had lost the spiritual protections he had placed around her and begged her to respond to his messages to restore them. When someone is ghosting you, that's all you got to do. Please respond. Let me give you the spiritual protections you deserve. Their obsession with the idea of death percentages continued quite a bit in these text messages as well. A way of measuring how each person's spirit was still in their body. Lori questioned why her son JJ's percentage was not at zero and became increasingly concerned with the idea of eliminating the zombies in their lives. Obviously, these beliefs are bizarre, horrifying, and the tragic outcome was all too real. The messages exchanged between Lori and Chad, they really show that glimpse into that twisted world they inhabited. I would still question, are their minds still there?
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Kind of a breakdown right there of the testimony from court this morning. We'll, of course, have the actual testimony for you, which I'm very much looking forward to listening to as soon as we get it from court later today or tomorrow. As we have it available, we will post it for you here on the podcast. My name is Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.